Gardner. How you doing? Hey there. Mrs. Murray.
Hey.
Mrs. Centron. Hey there. Come on in. I think Mr. Clyde should be here today.
Sorry, I'm
Mr. Clyde, that's okay. No problem. No worries. No worries. No worries. Absolutely. If you could be maybe this one. You're all in there. We're in the shot right now. Make no eye contact. Okay, great. If you don't mind, Mr. Clyde sitting right here on this one, so we get everybody in that.
Gotcha.
Nice, beautiful shot there.
Gotcha.
Okay, let's pray. Lord, I thank you for this day. I thank you for the opportunity to teach students, to learn, Father, to grow. And I pray that as we have the last day of school tomorrow, that we would love on students, encourage them, Lord, and be ready for the summer. We ask all these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
So I said this yesterday, and I said what I did on my last day of school. I want to know about you guys. What is there anything that you do with your family the last day of school to celebrate the last day of school? Any types of things? Anything that you can think of? Let me check the time real quick.
Yeah, well, we did yesterday because I have to work my other job tomorrow and the next day, or tonight and the next day. But we made milkshakes at home and played board games and listened to our record player, some Disney songs.
Absolutely,
So
okay.
danced around the house. It was fun.
So you just pumped up?
Just partying.
So that's what you do with your family now?
Yeah, right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
We go home and crash.
Crash? Your husband doesn't take you out to
Air
a nice
conditioner.
dinner?
No, the first days, like I need to settle down.
Okay.
Air conditioner,
Kinda ease into it.
relaxation, rest,
Okay.
and then we can have some action.
Okay.
So, we usually, on the last Wednesday night before school's out, coming home from church, we always go get ice cream or yogurt or custard or something, so we did that last night. And then we get through the craziness and then do something fun on that weekend after.
On the weekend.
Right, but usually Friday is just, this year my nephew's graduating, so we're going to a graduation, but
Okay.
just kind of keep it low key until the weekend and then do
Right.
something fun.
Well, cool. Okay. Scarlett?
The past 2 years, my husband and I would go to Disney that last weekend.
Yeah. And you're pass holders, correct?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah.
Cool.
So we would go to Disney or just visit his parents down in Sanford.
Okay, good. I thought you might go to that Mexican restaurant that you guys like.
Yeah, the
I think Miss
last
Murray likes-
year
likes-
we
likes
went
too.
there
Chewy's?
Chewy's, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Well, I'm going to quickly review over yesterday. I think you guys remember that we said there's some root causes or some underlying causes for students to stop learning or to stunt a student's growth. And we said, what were some of the causes in student learning, some of the root causes?
Pretending something didn't happen when it did.
Okay, that's one thing for sure. That was, we'll get to that in a second. Student population was one. You guys remember the student population was one. What's another problem or what's another issue early on?
Staff turnover.
Staff turnover, right? That's hard to build that consistency and that continuity with the high staff turnover. What else?
Not mastering the English language.
Not mastering the English language. There you go.
Foreign language teacher thing.
Absolutely. So, and I think that applies a lot to foreign, exchange students and schools. I think that applies there, and we at one time we had that, but we don't have that.
And even
well.
learning a foreign language, if you don't know your language,
Okay.
it affects the learning of foreign
So
language.
some of those skills you have to remediate those skills.
I
and you
sometimes
can't
teach
kind of
English too
push
in
through.
Spanish class.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, a little bit, here
Okay.
and there.
Hey, all encompassing.
Yes.
That's what I say. Anybody else? What else?
Class size.
Class size. And we're blessed at our school that our class sizes are I think our max size was 21. Did you say 21 was your max size this year? 20, so right around there. So that's good. That's good. There's one thing that I wanted to share with you guys yesterday that I put there, but this is important. Research has shown the most significant factor or catalyst in giving students a high quality of education. You know what that is? The most significant factor in giving students a high quality of education. What do you think that is?
caring teacher.
Absolutely, it's the teacher,
Yeah.
right? So students can't really have a good education if you guys are not caring or looking to teach them. So that was big. And remember the destroying the negative habits, in the classroom. What's the first one? You guys remember that?
Talking too much or
Or
too
too
little.
Talking too much or too little, it can really sabotage student learning. You think of sarcasm, disparaging remarks, whatever that might be. And I said, what's the positive? What's the positive to do that we should do?
Constructive criticism.
Constructive criticism, way to encourage students or come beside them and encourage them. What's the next one, number 2?
Student fear
Fear.
caused by rejection.
Yeah, students sometimes fear rejection. We're talking about that today. They feel rejected, maybe possibly by their own peers. That causes it. So we need to act, as teachers, we need to act professionally, respond professionally, and not react personally. What's the third one? You guys remember the third one?
Failing to focus on quality, research-based instruction.
Absolutely. And we should not attune our skills or rely back on that rote learning. We should assimilate, associative learning. That's what we should be focused on as well. What's the fourth one?
Being consistently better, not being satisfied with just being good.
Being great. So what is great? Great is Tony the Tiger, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Great.
The superlative.
Absolutely.
Ooh, big
Great.
word.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. And fifth is showing or what? Showing or proclaiming. Showing or proclaiming. Number 6.
Create,
Great. Uh-huh.
create a climate and culture that promotes learning, and students must see you helping them because you want to, not because you
Yeah.
have to.
It makes a big deal when students realize that, hey, they really want to go all the way to help me. They're there for me, not that they have to or begrudgingly do this. So number 7, and I think you pointed this one out.
Pretending something didn't happen when it did.
That's right, and it's when you go ahead and address it right on, it's kind of like a weight that's lifted off your shoulders. And as we were going through that yesterday, I thought to myself, what's one thing that students have to deal with in a learning environment that can maybe, I'm going to say regress, but students that have difficulties? And one thing is they deal with is peer pressure. And I'm just going to briefly talk about peer pressure quickly here. You need that. Excuse me. Are we good here?
Thank you.
As we think of peer pressure, when students move from primary or elementary school to adolescence or middle and high school, the one significant thing that they have to deal with is peer pressure. And the older that the children grow, the more advanced they are, they really start to care what their peers think of them. Think about it. In elementary school, they want affirmation from who?
The
Teacher.
The teacher, right? They want that from a teacher who's gonna applaud me, give me that star, put that smiley face, whatever it might be, the sticker, whatever it might be, and they want that affirmation from the teacher. But when they start to get into middle school and high school, where does their affirmation come from?
Peers.
It usually comes from their peers. So, unfortunately, the peer approval is high in middle and high school. And the alignment is, the more popular they are, the more friendships that they have, the more acceptance they have, the cooler they become. And that's what they long for, that's what they look for. And studies have shown that kids, or the cool kids in middle school, feel compelled once they get to high school to start experiment. Not necessarily on the roads, but want to experiment as far as, what can I get away with, or what can I do to maybe get noticed by my peers and maybe get applauded or affirmed. And as a result of that, whether it's cheating, skipping school, drugs, vandalism, all those, that's their perception. It increases their popularity. That's the perception that's out there. And when these students get from 15 years old and they eventually get into adulthood, 20 years old, this escalates into a lot of issues, because all of a sudden you've got a group of students that were looking for the confirmation from their peers, and all of a sudden now they have this, they don't have this sense of belonging or approval sometimes. So I'm going to share with you 5 techniques that can be helpful with students and dealing with peer pressure, healthy techniques. The first one is this: make students aware of the difference between positive and negative peer pressure. Make students aware of the difference between positive and negative peer pressure. And you see there where it says make a T-chart, and you've got the T-chart, and then on one side you've got the negative, and you've got the positive. It's different when you're like, for instance, a positive thing would be, hey, I really want you to try out for the school play, or really want you to try out for this team, or whatever it might be. The negative would be, hey, come with us after school, we're gonna do a little vape, you know, or whatever it might be. Running student council would be another positive type of peer pressure. Lying to parents about a party or bullying, of course, that's negative peer pressure. And it's important for students to recognize and verbalize that not all peer pressure is equal. And as teachers, we need to get these students to actually not just make the T-chart, but let's talk about the T-chart. Let's talk about positive and negative peer pressure. Let's address it and talk about it.